Okay, so in this first phase of our reopening plan, right now we only have riders who don't really need a whole lot of sidewalking physical assistance. In some cases, we might have a spotter for a rider. So if that's your job, what you're gonna do is you're just going to stay right next to the rider's knee, but you can stay, anywhere from right next to them to an arm's length away. We just don't want you any farther than that. So that way you're there to step in if something does happen. We want to make sure during this time that you only put your hands on the rider's leg or hand if you absolutely need to. We're going to try to refrain from touching as much as possible, okay? If you need help trying to figure out how to help your rider, go ahead and ask your instructor and they can help you, okay? We also want to make sure that we're still observing the normal sidewalker rules, that if something like falls on the ground, like that beanbag I just threw, Sarah's not going to pick it up. She's just going to stay right with her rider and keep walking. The instructor will pick it up, okay? So this is an ankle hold. The most common way to do it is as Sarah's doing it right now. She has her hand cupped around the back of the rider's ankle, but you can also do it around the front of the rider's ankle if they need help keeping their leg back underneath them. So this is what a thigh hold looks like. So the volunteer has their forearm across the rider's thigh right in the middle. And if she needs to, she can anchor her hand to the little bareback pad that's right there. We're just going to try not to pull on anything that's on the horse's chest or face. Yep. Okay, so this is an example of what we're not going to do when we sidewalk. There's a couple of things wrong with this. So Sarah has her hand all the way around Mandy's waist, and that's going to, one, start pulling Mandy off balance, especially if Sarah's hand gets tired and she starts leaning on her. But she also has her elbow right in the middle of our horse's back, and that's not very comfortable for them. So that's one of the positions we are not going to do when we sidewalk. Okay, so we're going to walk through a basic emergency dismount as well. So this would be in a situation that you feel the rider's going to fall off the horse anyway. That would be the case where you, if you're acting as a sidewalker, might need to pull your rider off the horse, okay? So the first step you're going to have to do is make sure your rider has let go of the reins and doesn't have stirrups. So right now, Mandy doesn't have stirrups. She's in a bareback pad, so that's good. But for her reins, we're going to ask her to drop them. Of course, if it's an emergency, she might want to hold on to them really tight because she's scared. So what we're going to do is we might bend her wrist back, and then it's really hard for her to make a fist. She's going to drop them. We're going to pretend we did that same thing on this side. And then I'm going to throw them up towards the horse's head. Now it's okay if at that point they go over the horse's head because there will be a horse leader there to manage all of that, okay? We just want to get them away from the rider so they don't grab them again. And then, once you're all clear, you're going to do your emergency dismount. The key to that is you're going to want to kind of, stagger your legs a little bit so you're not standing right up next to the horse and pulling, because then you're both going down, and that won't feel nice. You want to have a nice little power stance is what I call it. And then you're going to, this is really easy because blackjack is short. But you're going to wrap your hands kind of around their waist as best you can. If you can't get all the way around, you might need to grab like belt loops or a belt or something that might help you. And you're just going to reach around and you're going to pull them towards you. Okay? And she's going to end up kind of leaning against me on my leg right here. And if she didn't land on her feet, that's okay. It's not perfect. The goal is just to slow down their descent and make sure they don't land on their head. Okay? All right, horse leaders, when you come to volunteer, you will find your horse's station already set up with all of these things. So you will have their bucket of brushes with their name on it, and that should have all your grooming tools in it. If you're missing something, please let us know and we'll get you something to replace it. You'll have their halter here so you can go catch them. You will also have their saddle pad, a half pad if you need it, a girth, their handhold, and your reins with Rein Buddies already attached. So you won't have to worry about getting anything out of the shed. We're gonna get it all for you, okay? Okay, so when you come to tie a horse at the tie rail, we're going to make sure there's plenty of room between horses, so you won't have to worry about that. But you are going to have to tie to the baling twine that's on the tie rail. We're not going to tie to the hard ring. Okay, and we're going to tie a quick release knot. So Sarah's made a loop, and she's going to stick it through the twine. There you go. She's going to give it a little twist, and then she's going to start daisy chaining the long end through the loops. So she's just going to keep doing that until it's not hanging down on the ground anymore. And she's not going to tuck the end in like some people like to do to kind of lock it. We don't need to do that here. None of our horses have been prone to playing with the rope, so you can just leave it as is, so it's a true quick release knot. We want to make sure we don't give Maverick too much room on the lead rope so he doesn't wander around and get in people's way, but we also don't want to tie him so tight that he has no movement at all. Okay? Okay, when leading horses at our center, we're going to have you have your right hand right around this piece of duct tape that's on all of the lead ropes. You can go a little bit above or a little bit below depending on if your horse is a little quick or if your rider needs a little more independence. But we want to have you stay pretty close to that duct tape. Just one, so you don't get too close to the horse and restrict their movement. And two, we don't want you too far out so that way your rope becomes a tripping hazard. So we don't want that. And then in your left hand, we have your rope folded over nicely, right back over itself, so we're not making any loops around your hands or your fingers, okay? Very good. As you're leading, you want to remember to look up where you're going. You don't want to look down at the ground. You don't want to turn around and walk backwards unless you're walking into the ramp. Definitely no dance moves. Maverick's like, what are you doing? We want to just make sure to be nice and consistent for all of our horses. Alright, so horse leaders, when you bring a horse into the ramp, for the short side of the ramp, you're going to come in, you're going to have them between the cone and the ramp, have them whoa, and you're going to stand on their right side while the rider is mounting, still up by their head, but you just want to make sure you're not in between the horse's head and the ramp. And then once the rider is on, you're going to switch back to the other side and walk on, and you're going to go on the outside of the black block to get into the arena. If you're bringing a horse into the tall side of the ramp, you're still going to bring them between the cone and the ramp, but then you're going to kind of walk backwards so they can get nice and straight by the block and the ramp. Ideally, we'll have the stirrup line up with this black block on this side. You're still going to stand on the right side of the horse's head while the rider mounts. That way you're not in between the stairs and the horse's head. And then once the rider is on and they've indicated to walk on, you're going to switch back to the other side and ask the horse to walk on into the arena.